Good morning, parents, family members, friends, and distinguished guests. Welcome to Wharton Undergraduate's graduation ceremony. On behalf of the Wharton School and the University of Pennsylvania, we are pleased to present the graduating class of 2026. Please join us in welcoming the dean, faculty, administrators, and alumni of the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania.
You may be seated. Good morning, graduates. It is hard to imagine a better place to be than right here, right now, celebrating the Wharton Undergraduate Class of 2026. Before I do anything else, let me welcome the parents, the partners, families, friends, and loved ones who traveled to Philadelphia to share in this proud day. Graduates, welcome your friends. So today is also a celebration of all of the ways in which you all helped your graduate cross this stage. I also want to welcome my Wharton faculty and staff colleagues. You are the reasons our students' educational experience is possible, and your guidance and dedication to their success shows up in every one of these graduates sitting before you. On their behalf, thank you. And lastly, a huge welcome to each and every one of you, the Wharton Undergraduate Class of 2026. Years ago, during your new student orientation, I encouraged you to meet each new challenge with intentionality and an eye towards something bigger than yourself. I told you your actions and influence can impact people you've never met, and I urged you to operate with kindness and a heart for others. And now, 4 years later, you are on the cusp of another monumental transition, which brings me to what I'd like to focus on today. As graduates of the first, and I think you will agree with me when I say the best collegiate business school in the world, you have built the skills to make an immediate impact wherever you go. But let's be honest, you're also stepping into a world that feels complicated. Every day, we read conflicting headlines pulling us in different directions. We're bombarded with discussions about the risks and rewards of generative AI and the tensions of our ultra-connected global community. In the time you have been at Wharton, you have witnessed companies and industries rising and falling in real time. It's a lot. And it means that leadership today requires a fundamentally different set of capabilities than what we've typically asked of our leaders. Yes, you have spent your days mastering how to think analytically, how to apply data to solve problems, and how to see multiple sides of an issue. Those skills will always matter. But in today's world, they're simply not enough. So before you start on your next journey, let me offer you one last framework to guide you through the new demands of leadership. I know, one last framework. You can handle it. Some of you may know my academic expertise is in crisis leadership. I've spent decades studying how people navigate volatile environments. So trust me when I say, while history has never been short on challenges, the speed and scale of change today will test not just what you know, but how you respond. I've been asking myself lately, what do leaders actually need to succeed in today's environment? And I keep coming back to 4 distinct pillars of strength: relational, intellectual, physical, and emotional. 4 pillars of strength. Say it with me. Relational, intellectual, physical, and emotional. So I want you to remember those because there will be a test at the end of my remarks. And no, I'm not kidding. So let's start with intellectual strength, because that's probably what brought you to Wharton in the first place. Intellectual strength is your capacity to think strategically, to process information, and to make sound decisions in uncertain situations. Intellectual strength is essential in today's world, but it's mere table stakes. You can't lead without it, but you also cannot rely on your intellectual strength alone. So what else do you need? Let's move on to relational strength. This is your ability to understand people and ultimately being able to inspire them. Today's leaders must navigate a complicated maze of stakeholders: clients, customers, employees, board members, investors, regulators, you name it. Each one of these sees the world through a different lens and has their own priorities. On top of that, there are more ways than ever for people to respond to and challenge what you say, creating this potential vicious cycle of backlash and response. This cacophony of voices means you are not the sole author of your company's narrative. So you have to listen deeply to the feedback you receive from others, even when that feedback is uncomfortable to hear. Because you won't be able to inspire people to act if you don't take the time to understand where they're coming from. Next is physical strength. Now, I don't mean you need to become a bodybuilder to be a good leader, but leadership does require physical fortitude. You will face sustained, immense pressure for long stretches of time where the stakes are high and the demands on you don't let up. You've heard that leaders need to be resilient, that they should be able to get knocked down, bounce back, and keep going after any setback. That matters, but that is also reactive. So in addition to resilience, today's leader needs a particular form of physical strength: stamina. Unlike resilience, stamina is proactive. It's built over time from purposeful, repeated exposure to the stressors of today's environment. Stamina is what allows you to recover from challenges and to stay steady through them. So as a leader, I urge you to train your mind and your body to withstand the pressures that produce exhaustion and burnout. I promise you, doing so will reveal what you are truly capable of. And finally, there's emotional strength. If physical strength measures how you handle pressure, emotional strength helps you keep your cool when challenges arise, but also when opportunity comes knocking. Within emotional strength, there's one quality I want to highlight: patience. I know I'm talking to a group of Wharton graduates, perhaps the most ambitious people on the planet. So to you, patience is probably a four-letter word. But I've learned from my own experience in higher education that patience can be crucial. You can have all of the intelligence, all the relationships, and all the physical stamina you need to excel, and still find your plans are disrupted by something completely out of your control. A leadership change, an unexpected revenue shortfall, a scandal in your firm or industry, or even a global pandemic. In those moments, the hardest thing you may have to do is set your own plans aside and simply wait. This may feel counterintuitive, especially in a world where most of your wants and needs are a swipe or a click away, and because you, Wharton graduates, are hardwired for positive momentum. But the arc of your career will be long and won't always move up and to the right. Prepare yourself now for life's inevitable twists and turns by getting comfortable with the idea of being patient. And I can tell you from experience, patience is far more powerful than it looks. Let me take a moment to share a very personal, quick story. I accepted the role of the Dean of the Wharton School in February of 2020, just before the pandemic changed everything. The selection process for the next dean leading up to that job offer lasted months. But through it all, and at the risk of being a bit presumptuous, I began to visualize myself in the role. I was creating plans and building a vision of what I wanted to do in my first 90 days. But by the time I actually started the new job a few months later, the impact of the pandemic was in full effect. Now there were more urgent priorities than the agenda that I had planned. So I had to be patient and put my plans for the school on hold to respond to the immediate needs of the Wharton community. This didn't mean that I had to give up on my ambitions for the school. I just had to give it more time to bring them to life. And that's what patience really is. It's not inaction. It's a long-term investment in what you're building. Remember, not now is not the same as not ever. So, now's the time for your final test before you graduate. I told you there would be a test. Hopefully it's an easy one. I want you to turn to your neighbor and tell them the 4 pillars. Ready, set, go. All right, raise your hand if the person sitting next to you got them all right. Every hand should be up. I trust you got them, that you will remember relational, intellectual, physical, and emotional. When you put those together, you get the acronym RIPE. A gentle reminder that becoming ready to lead takes time. As a graduate of the Wharton School, you have just made a tremendous investment in your intellectual strength. And though term papers and exams may be behind you, learning shouldn't be. My hope is that your most impactful leadership journey still lies ahead. And my advice is simple: don't rush it. See patience not as a punishment or a dream deferred, but rather view it as an advantage, as the time and space to continue building the relational, the intellectual, the physical, and the emotional strength that will define the kind of leader you become. Because when you take the time to develop and grow in all 4 dimensions, you will be ripe for any opportunity that comes your way. So on behalf of everyone at the Wharton School, congratulations to the class of 2026. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce your graduation day speaker, Ynon Kreiz. Ynon is the chairman and CEO of Mattel, a leading global play and family entertainment company and owner of some of the most iconic brands in the world. Anybody ever play with Barbie? How about Hot Wheels? And so many more. He took the helm at Mattel in 2018 and has transformed the company into an entertainment powerhouse, expanding its offerings across film, television, short-form content, consumer products, digital games, live events, and more. Under Ynon's bold and visionary leadership, Mattel released the Barbie movie, which went on to become a cultural phenomenon, earning the largest global box office in 2023, along with 8 Academy Award nominations. During Ynon's tenure, Mattel has also been widely recognized for its achievements in workplace culture and employee well-being. Prior to Mattel, he held several leadership positions in the media and entertainment industry and established a strong track record of scaling content and brands globally. In 2024, he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world and Entertainment Person of the Year by Cannes Lions. Woo! Ynon serves on the board of directors for Warner Music Group and is a member of the Business Roundtable and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. We are incredibly fortunate to have him here with us today. Please join me in welcoming your speaker, Ynon Kreiz.
Thank you, Dean James, for this kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm deeply honored to be your commencement speaker. Distinguished faculty, alumni, parents, family members, friends, and most of all, Wharton Class of 2026. Congratulations, you did it. I know firsthand the joy that all your parents feel at this moment because my eldest daughter is here graduating today alongside you. I asked her if she had any advice for my speech, and she said, please, just don't lecture us on AI. The truth is, you don't need to be lectured on anything. Yes, you're entering the real world at a time of extraordinary transformation. But there is one thing I'm absolutely sure of. For all the uncertainty, all of you are more than prepared for this moment. Every generation is faced with its share of crisis, and remarkably, every generation finds a way to meet and surmount them. More than 3 decades ago, I was in your shoes. I graduated from college while a war was raging in the Middle East. Then, the internet.com bubble threatened to bring the world down, the economy to its knees. Well, it didn't. Reflecting back on some of my life lessons, I have 3 stories to share that I hope will inspire you to navigate your journey regardless of any direction you take. It's 2018. I had recently joined Mattel's board, and became the company's 4th CEO in 4 years. Lots of things needed to change. What excited me was the opportunity to transform Mattel from a toy manufacturer making items to an intellectual property company managing franchises, and to think of people who buy our products not just as consumers, but as fans that have an emotional connection with our brands. To realize this vision, we needed a big tentpole project that would define the strategy, and there was no higher bar to start with than making a movie based on our biggest brand, Barbie. Yes. 3 weeks into my new job, I set up a meeting with Margot Robbie, soon to be Barbie herself, and our co-producer. From the start, I was clear. This was not about making a movie to sell toys, and in fact, it wasn't even about making a movie. It was about creating a cultural event. After getting Warner Brothers on board, we partnered with Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach to write the screenplay and for Greta to ultimately direct the movie. At the time, Greta was a young, up-and-coming independent filmmaker who had not directed a big-budget, large commercial movie before. But her prior films were critically acclaimed, and most importantly, she was an innovator and a pioneer. So, imagine you me, and the script you've been anxiously waiting for finally lands in your inbox. And in that script, your #1 brand is called fascist, your company is portrayed as the worst in corporate America, and you, the CEO, are a chauvinist buffoon. Now, imagine not only saying yes to this film, but staking your company's strategic vision on it. On paper, most brand experts would think you were crazy. After all, several previous attempts to make a Barbie movie had failed. I've been asked countless times, how did you let this movie happen? The answer is, it's not that we let it happen, we wanted it to happen. And we not only accepted it, but embraced it and amplified it. To be successful, we needed to stand apart, be original, be authentic, and break conventions. It was about trusting the creative process and the creator herself. And I was never in doubt. Here's what gave me confidence along the way. One of the common practices in Hollywood is to find a comparable movie for every project, or as they call it in the industry, a comp. Comps help the studios set the budget, choose the cast, plan the marketing campaign, and even make financial projections. In the case of the Barbie movie, no one could find a comp. Was it Lego Movie, Legally Blonde, or Clueless? Was it Little Mermaid, or Enchanted, or even the Grand Budapest Hotel? It was none of those. It was its own thing, completely original. That made a lot of people nervous. To me, it was a sign that we were on the right path, and this movie would be very special. Barbie went on to be nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. It won an Oscar and became the highest grossing movie of the year and the biggest film ever in Warner Brothers history. The film with no comp became the film everyone is trying to make. The lesson of the Barbie movie is this: don't be afraid to break conventions. Not every good idea has a comp. If you're looking for precedents, you will not be the one setting them. On a very personal note, in the midst of the Barbie movie rush, my mother was fighting cancer. I just left her bedside in Tel Aviv the night before the Barbie premiere, and as I landed back in Los Angeles at 6 a.m., my sister called with the news that she had passed away. By 5 p.m., I had to be on the pink carpet, hosting our guests and giving press interviews. Within less than 12 hours, I experienced a stark reminder that in life, there are many ups and downs, and sometimes they intertwine, and you carry on. It was obvious what my mother would have wanted me to do, and knowing her, she probably would have wanted to be there herself. Here's another very different real-life story. My wife, Anat, who is sitting right there with our family, was pregnant with our fourth child while we were living in London. Everything during the pregnancy went according to plan. Each and every test was fine, every doctor was happy, everything was great. We thought we had it all under control. 3 days before the due date, Anat started to get contractions. We jumped into my car and drove towards the hospital, which was barely 10 minutes away. At first, I was driving normally, but hearing my wife in the back, I started to drive faster and faster and faster. 2 minutes from the hospital, Anat says, "Stop the car." I say, "We're almost there." She yells, "Stop the car now." I pull over under a streetlight right in front of Paddington's train station. This is one of the busiest places in London. It's 8:10 p.m. People are walking everywhere. As I bolt to her side of the car, with the engine still running, I see 3 guys walking by. I yell at them, "Call an ambulance," thinking to myself, this cannot be happening. I didn't even wash my hands. I open the back door where Anat is lying, and before I know it, I'm pulling out a beautiful baby girl. My wife is nearly passing out, and I'm standing there holding a newborn in the dark in the middle of a street full of people in central London traffic. I could hear the 3 guys continue to call for help, and eventually, some 20 minutes later, not 1, but 3 ambulances showed up. I thought to myself, oh great, 1 for the baby, 1 for my wife, and 1 for me. We had 9 months to prepare. We've been through 3 successful textbooks deliveries. Thousands of new babies are born every hour. In fact, 4 babies every second all over the world. But nevertheless, this was something I simply did not expect. And believe me, you cannot get this one wrong. I bring this up not to embarrass my daughter, and not even to brag about my skills as a delivery nurse, but to remind all of you, brilliant high achievers, you may think you have everything mapped out, but life often has its own plans. Expect the unexpected, and remember that improvisation is part of the plan. The third story takes us to my local cafe in LA. On weekends, I wake up early and sit there with my laptop to catch up on work. There was a hard-working server always on the ball. While I was drinking my single-shot latte, I would notice his efficiency and engagement with customers. One day, I raised my eyes from my laptop and asked him, "Where are you from?" He shared that he was a refugee from Iran, who left his entire family at the age of 21, camped in Turkey for 3 years to get his US visa, and eventually arrived in America alone, knowing absolutely no one. He taught himself English while working full-time, and somehow also earned a computer science degree. He didn't know who I was or where I worked, but casually asked if I knew anyone who was looking for interns in cybersecurity. I asked him to send me his resume, but he had no resume because he had no prior jobs, except at his work as a barista and server. Normally, most recruiters and AI systems would reject him due to a lack of any related experience. That is the practical move. Yet, He did share his transcripts, and I saw that he had a very strong GPA and had taken several advanced courses with straight A's in challenging subjects like data structures and algorithm engineering. But much more than his grades, this was someone who found the courage to flee a bleak past, to seek a better life, and worked hard on his own with no support to pursue his goals. Someone with that kind of determination was worth taking a chance on. Who wouldn't want a person like that on their team? I said to him that I may know someone at Mattel and would be happy to make an introduction. Our recruiting team invited him for an interview and ended up offering him to join our internship program. He was one of the highest performers that year, and today, Irfan works full-time at Mattel on our global technology team with a very bright future ahead. And Mattel has a top talent on our side. In the world of Zoom, working from home, and agentic AI, personal interactions and casual conversations are more important than ever. For all your training, experience, and education, remember, human connection is mankind's greatest superpower. Harness it, and you will go very far. Wharton graduates, you have just received a degree from one of the world's elite academic institutions, which has produced some of the most influential leaders of our time. Now, it's your turn. You are stepping into a world that needs your ideas, your energy, and your leadership. A world that will challenge you, surprise you, and at times test you. But it is also full of opportunities for those who are willing to think differently and act boldly. Know that the best made plans are subject to change, and when you need to adapt, you roll up your sleeves and deliver, sometimes literally. And as you embark on your next chapter, know that your character and your values will matter far more than any title you hold. So, class of 2026, be original and don't look for comps. Expect the unexpected. Look up and make eye contact. And if by some chance someone ever hands you a screenplay where you're portrayed as a buffoon, say, yes, I promise it's worth it. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Ynon. Those were three powerful stories. I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker, your classmate and class of 2026 graduate, Shreya Krishnan. Originally from Colorado Springs, Shreya will graduate with a concentration in management and as a Wharton Research Scholar. On campus, she served on Wharton Council for 4 years and was the finance chair, internal chair, and led Wharton Formal. Shreya was a singer for Counterparts a cappella and served as president, business manager, and social chair. In addition, she served as treasurer of the International Business Review and worked on the Muse Social Impact Committee to help local nonprofits. Shreya was also the Wharton and Performing Arts Chair for Seniors for the Penn Fund, and over the last 4 years, she represented Penn and sang at the Sydney Opera House, at the Olympic Museum, and as an Olympic torchbearer, and twice as a soloist at Carnegie Hall. Please join me in welcoming Shreya Krishnan.
Wharton Class of 2026. 4 years ago, we arrived at Huntsman, excited and nervous at the same time. Remember NSO and competing for the Wharton Cohort Cup? Or avoiding walking on the compass before our first BEP 1000 midterm? As I reflected about what defines the Wharton experience, I thought about how 3 lessons we learned in the classroom parallel our life. First, understanding the power of compounding interest. When studying finance, we learned that small investments grow into extraordinary outcomes over time. But compounding works in life too. Small acts of curiosity compound into knowledge. Small acts of kindness compound into trust. Small acts of courage compound into change. Second, knowing our value proposition. In our marketing class, Vice Dean Lamberton taught us about value propositions. What makes a company unique? What makes customers choose one brand over another? But the most important value proposition we will ever develop isn't for a company, it's for ourselves. What do we stand for? What do we contribute to the world? What impact will people associate with our name? Our values become our brand. Finally, investing in human capital. We learned in our management classes that knowledge, skills, and relationships are the most powerful assets an organization can have. The same is true for life. Remember the countless hours of support we received from our friends for internship prep, class advice, or even just someone to call, to vent to, or just sit with us. Our greatest investment in life will be in people. Thank you to the professors who pushed us, challenged us, and occasionally reminded us that participation counts. Thank you to the mentors who guided us even when we didn't realize how much we needed it. And especially to the families sitting here today. Parents, guardians, siblings, thank you for the phone calls during stressful weeks, the encouragement when things felt uncertain, and the belief that brought us here in the first place. Today belongs to you as much as it belongs to us. As we leave Wharton today, we'll scatter across cities, industries, and countries. But wherever life takes us, I hope these 3 lessons will remain something that we share and continue to guide us. First, remember the power of compounding, that the small risks we take every day and the small choices we make can grow into something far greater than we ever could have imagined. Next, remember our value proposition, not the one on our resume or LinkedIn page, but the one defined by our integrity, our curiosity, and the difference we make in the lives of others. And remember, the most meaningful return on any investment will always be the relationships we build. Years from now, when people speak about the Wharton class of 2026, I hope they won't just talk about the companies we built or the industries we changed. I hope they also say that we led with courage and compassion, that we led with integrity, that we built communities, and wherever we went, we made the world a little bit better than we found it. Congratulations, Wharton Class of 2026, we did it!
Thank you, Shreya. At this time, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate all of our incredible students and faculty who are being honored with awards today. The list of the award recipients can be found in your graduation program. These students and faculty exemplify the excellence that can be found in every corner of Wharton. Would all of those receiving an award today, faculty and staff and students, please stand if you are able, and please join me in a round of applause for these deserving individuals. Now it is my great pleasure to turn the mic to Kate Lamberton, the Alberto Duran President's Distinguished Professor, Professor of Marketing, and Vice Dean and Director of the Undergraduate Division of the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Kate is an inspiring educator, an award-winning researcher, and a valued friend and partner. Please welcome Vice Dean Kate Lamberton.
Okay, so 37 courses, 14 weeks, about 150 minutes a week. That adds up to about 77,700 minutes. Countless ideas, facts, theories, and frameworks. Brilliant advice today from Mr. Kreiz and Dean James. It's a lot to hold in your mind. I now have the opportunity to ask you for 5 more minutes and for one more thing. We had high expectations of you before we even sent your acceptance letter. And we have seen you vastly exceed those expectations. In the classroom, in immersive courses, in projects in Philadelphia, in your research, your inventions, your clubs, we have seen you shine. And part of the power of a Wharton degree is that it tells the world to expect a lot of you too. It should. And you'll do all of that. Don't worry about it, you will. But here's the one last thing I want to ask of you. Surprise them all. Now, given the appreciation that many of you have for analytics, I'm going to argue this first with an idea from information theory. Kullback-Leibler divergence, also known as surprisal, is the concept at play here. Surprisal quantifies the extent to which something could not have been predicted based on prior data. Now, you might think surprisal would be bad because we like being able to predict what's happening next, but the opposite is true. Seeing what we expected teaches us nothing, but high surprisal data points give us new information. They stretch the space of what is possible. They literally enlarge our world. So, if the world sees 5 stable stars, and then a comet shoots across the sky, that comet is high surprisal, and it tells us something about the sky that the stars simply couldn't. Things that might help us see farther into space, design a new shuttle, understand the origins of the universe. More stars would have been nice, but the comet's high surprisal, that opens the sky for new possibilities, new questions, new adventures. So the more you surprise, the more you can be the comet, and the world will be richer for it. But if that sounds a little abstract, let me make an argument based on something a little closer to home. The things that may surprise the world about you are also the things that are profoundly true. You are more than a set of expectations. You didn't come here as a cookie-cutter person, and you are not leaving one. A few examples. The world rightly expects the intellectual strength that Dean James mentioned, and you will deliver that. But you can also hit it out of the park, relationally, emotionally, and physically. Surprise them by thinking about and bringing all of those into play on purpose. Here's another one. The world expects you to be defined by your job title. Surprise. You are defined by the passions you choose, the things you create, and as Shreya said, the people you care about. And you have defined Wharton on those terms for the last 4 years, not the other way around. Surprise. You're more likely to shape the organizations you join than they are to define you. Another expectation, you'll doggedly pursue the first career path you begin. Maybe, but ask yourself, are you the same person who arrived here 4 years ago? For many of you, the next 4 years will be as transformative as the last. Surprise them. Keep embracing growth. Go where it leads with courage and creativity. When they expect you to zig, feel free to zag. And finally, the world expects that pursuing all of your individual paths will weaken your bonds with one another. But that hasn't been the way this class works. As you pursued your own goals, I saw you do this. You consistently showed up for each other, cheering each other on, giving each other voice, interviewing, asking, elevating, and including. Surprise the world. Look around right now, the people sitting near you, and decide right now to stubbornly and tenaciously stay in each other's corners. If you do, the community of the class of 2026 will grow stronger, not weaker, as your individual stories unfold. So that's the one last idea. Yes, confirm all of the best and finest expectations the world has of you. You will. And then, in the words of the poet Wendell Berry, feel free to do one thing every day that does not compute. Surprise them all. And when you launch surprises into the world that no one saw coming, we'll be waiting to learn, excited about the possibilities you created and cheering you on. But we won't be surprised, because this is, after all, the class of 2026. And with that, I think it's time that you graduate.
And now, we present the candidates for the Bachelor of Science in economics. Campton Cam. Noor Abbasi. Moforehan Abinusawa. Zara Adams. Jenna Michelle Chidima Adiele. Abhijay Agarwal. Priya Agarwal. Sanvi Agarwal. Gabe Aguero. Ebenolua Sarah Ajao. Kaushik Akula. Syed Hussein Ali Al-Alawi. Sarah Amir Ali. Chinonye Alilanu. Abdul Aziz Al-Misfer. Jose Miguel Alvarez Stefanoni. Justina Inez Alvarez Zoldi. Puteri Hana Yasmin Binti Amran. Meghana Reddy Onam. Valerie K. Ang. Nolan Anthony. Olivia Enyao. Amelia Apfel. Jaden Aracena. Manuela Yazigi Arantes. Isabella Arapovich. Maria Araujo Lesma. Truman Armstrong. Alima Aset. Arhan Bajadia. Davis Baker. Simon Baker. Harish Balasubramanian. Cindy Banai. Ayan Banerjee. Devin J. Bansal. Francesco Barone. Bruno Bosner. Ron Batra. Daniel Bauer Myrock. Dvisha Baxi. Carolyn Moran Begg. Sitiana Belaine. Diana Grace Benedicto Jimenez. Joshua Benson. Shravasti Bhatt. Tina Deepak Bhatia. Jake Bingham. Morgan Richard Bjorklund. Michael Blitzer. Kwame Boateng. Eva Bonjean. Theophilus Boni Kofi. Mariam Buatlawi. Kaloyan Bozhelov. Millie Briones Sousa. Josiah Brock. Liesel Eleanor Brodsky. Cormari Brown. Noah Samuel Budnitz. Martina Bogarelli. Cosette Baris. Abril Bustamante. Benjamin Butcher. Albert Casares Rosales. Sanaya Caldwell. Miles Campion. Eric Zhao. Cassidy Pajado Casabona. Angela Sen. John Serwinski. Taida Chayakitarajai. Kaya Chambers. Megan Chan. Hugh Ching Helen Chow. Sofia Kizlansky Higuera Chavez. Angela Chen. Ada Chen. Anna Chen. Ava Chen. Avery Ming Chen. Carolyn Chen. Eric Nathan Chen. Intel Chen. Katie Ivy Chen. Max Chen. Michael Chen. Michelle Chen. Yanshu Chen. Gloria Cheng. Alan Churches. Saskia Chermayev. Maddie Tim. Sarah Chinwatanachok. Praj Chirathivat. Jeremy Choi. Lena Choi. Arnav V. Chopra. Serafina Chanflone. Janyana Sime. Jack Joseph Cohen. Michelle Collet. Pierre Collet. Alexander Viderman Colucci. Catherine Comer. Ethan Costanzo. Mackenzie Bay Koltoff. Brandon Jesus Cruz. Caitlin Cruz. Hao Sway. Alexandra Kurtu. Anushka Daga. Aiden Danzig. Quan Dao. Shane Daughtry. Alexandra Lynn Diasla. Angeli DeBlanc. Gabriela de Oliveira. Parth Dadia. Maxwell Hinam de Lorenzo. Nitika Desai. Krutin N. Devesh. Arnav Dingra. Lami Diallo. Ishan Doke. Rachel Doman. Tina Dong. John Dunn. Kelly Dunnigan. Gabriel Dissel Hoffinger. Gabriela Mesquita Eckschmidt. Benjamin Michael Efres. Leah Mautin Aleshimogun. Andrew Elmore. Basma Assam Anani. Jose Miguel Estrada Bianchi. Lindsay Brooke Fabricant. Michael Fawn. Max Falco. Matthew J. Fallon. Jacqueline Fan. Adam Farhat. Sam Erskine Farnham Jr. Ignacio Benjamin Felix Padilla. Alexandra Fenaroli. Lily Fang. Angelina Ferrer. Gabrielle Fine. Connor Fischetti. Salim Fitwi. Christian Ford. Abraham Franchetti. Max Freeman. Danielle Freer. Lauren Freya. Alex Fu. Shanli Fu.
Anthony John Gadsey. Delilah Goffer. Catherine Gages. Rohan Simil Gala. Jasmine Gambier. Isabel Gann. Saurav Gandhi. Levi Sidney Gans. Andrew Gao. Jasmine Garcia. Daniela Garcia Mina. Isabel Garcia Oruña. Garish Gar. Brianna Gang. Ruben Rex Gitao. Eli Glazer. Ashvarya Godla. Will Goals. Asks Staju George. Hayden Gold. Isabel Gomez. Caroline Gong. John M. Gonzalez. Branimir Roscoe Gore. Ethan Nathaniel Gotian. Chung Tek Gov. Grace Grammons. Arjun Gamapadya. Brandon Graves. Manfredi Graziani. Gavin Griswold. Maya Ella Grunschlag. Isabel Gu. Ziki Millie Gu. Enzo Otto Gades. Valerie May Guevara. Pranav Guhathakurtra. Paloma Cecilia Gulick de Torres. Karina Guo. Jesslyn Guo. William David Guo. Kush Gupta. Varyam Gupta. Didipya Guthikanda. Mandy Guo. Erin Guzman Morales. Isaac Romack Haban. Amar Kozem Haidermota. Siobhan Palm Quagrain. David Hahn. Shashishnu Hanamulu. Zena Haroon. Corey P. Hazel Yitong He. Catherine He. Giselle Gabriela de Souza Hemerick. Rachel Herman. Amanda Hernandez. Sofia Alexandra Hernandez. Xavier Hill. Alex Hoberman. Joseph Holohan. Amy Hong. Aaron Hong. William Hong. Cirrus Horst. James Houghton. Kelly Hu. Martin Chongyuan Hu. Jessica Xiaoyan Hua. Evelyn Huang. Joshua Huang. Kaylee Huang. Michael Huang. Connor Hubby. Justin Hughes. Grace He. Iman Elias. Matthew Seiji Inamine. Katiana Indrasana. Brady Ionitis. Catherine Caroline Jane Urcha. Maria Arias Cardenas. Alec Jackson. Cassidy LaShawn Jackson. Matthew Jacobs. Neil Jane. Mateusz Jakobek. Donna Holosos. Trusha Jariwala. Vedika Jawa. Nathaniel Alexander Jean. Albert Jen. AJ Jensen Lopez. Olivia Jiang. Ellie Johnson. Kason Jones. Samuel Milton Jones IV. Sophia Alexandra Jorgensen. Orly Joseph Gabriel. Julius Josephson. Alex Jung. Abhiram Juvadi. Valentina Eugenia Kafati Santos. Shrey Kakar. Christina Kamenev. Edric Khan. Christina Kang. Fimapatwasu Kantakam. Tara Kapoor. Lalana Kari. Emma Rose Kazajansky. Madison Katz. Prableen Kaur. Tanish Kelkar. Skylar Carico. Isabel Kesselhout. Yasmin Tanya Katani. Owen Kevorkian. Dhruv Aditya Karjerkar. Anthony Kiafoulis. Jaesuk Alex Kim. Andrew Jonghoon Kim. Emily Yibin Kim. Jongha Kim. Michael Kim. Sue Ah Kim. Mats Gelle Skelbred. Jack Benjamin Cobry. Ria Kokengata. Adam Kollick. Tina Kong. Otakar Koronek. Malin Alexandra Sophie Hosanen. Kennedy Kostecki. David Krolick. Ynon Kreiz. Arav Kukareja. Dima Kulikov. Anushka Kulkarni. Emma Cumlin. Alexander Simon Kushkov. Ryan Kwong. Lavina La. Huesh Lakiani. Shayan Sarfaraz Lal Mohammed. Nathan Bing Lang. Hayden Lashonsky. Lee Ru-Yi Laura. Donald Lee. Patrick Ledois. Jungmin Lee. Jocelyn Yinghui Lee. Joshua Heyman Lee. Kiryun Lee. Rachel Lee. Andrew Lee. Stephen Lee.
Gloria Wei Lee. Melanie Lefkowitz. Juan Maria Lehux Marmalejos. Anna Lee. Anthony Lee. Brian Lee. Bryce Lee. Chris Shilin Lee. Jesslyn Lee. Tiffany Lee. Vivian Lee. Xiaohui Li. Xiaoli Li. Kimberly Liang. Alan Lin. Ashley Lin. Cherry Lin. Emma Clara Lin. Joyce Lin. Kevin Lin. Allison Lin. Alyssa Liu. Annie Liu. Edward Yuki Liu. Melissa Liu. Richard Liu. Victor Lobello. Jack Long. San Tu Loon. Livia Lozen. Jackson Lopiano. Andrew Liu. Maggie Look. Ka Luong. Rehan Luthra. Xiao Shen Ma. Yiru Ma. Kadari Machen. Chukwubuikem Madu. Barry Maida. Noor Majid. Jayanth Mamin. Raunak Mandal. Nikita Manoj. Andrew Mao. Amanda Mark. Philip Markopoulos. Nico Marquez. Tiffany Annette Martinez. Lila Maria Martinez Perez. Axel J. Madsen. Jose Raimundo Yulde Mayo II. Renee Pascal Mbida. Matt McCarthy. Victor McGrew. Patrick J. McKeague. Lachlan McLaren. Justin McMahon. Avumile Mekunu. Sahil Mehta. Udit Mehta. Melanie Mejia. Asante Iyasu Mergia. Aryaman Meswani. Alyssa Meyer. Allison Jiananmi. Daniel Mika. Lauren E. Miko. Isabel Miller. Rachel Lee Miller. Sarah Ming. Ria Prodipto Mitra. Elizabeth Modano. Anna Main. Vismaya Paul Mohindra. Gabriel Felipe Mora. Hannah Moskowitz. Jake Moss. Annie Munn. Sarav Nagpal. Karina Nanwani. Arjun Laxman Narasimhan. Nico Nardone. Natalia Maria Nasser Barrientos. Mariam Natrashvili. Yulia Naumova. Colin Ng. Samuel Neum. Christina Nguyen. Ellie Nguyen. Kelly Nguyen. Carter Nipper. Christiana Amarachi Wachuku. Kalada Nwuke. Ryan O'Connell. Andrew O'Donnell. Katie O. Sean O. Bridget O'Keefe. David Opomipo Oladeji. Dom Ologiera Delogu. Florence Nenia Onyuke. Jude Ortega. Ellis Osborne. Nathan Otteray. Samuel Otteray. John Otto. Ifabisi Owens. Pranav Paletti. Ashley Pan. Cecile Brianna Pardo. Chirin Park. Gite Park. Michelle J. Park. Stella S. Park. Yongjin Park. Eugene Park. Divik Patel. Mansi Patel. Natasha Pensler. Jake Peralta. Dylan Pearlstein. Lexi Pesavento. Rudarnley Pierre-Louise. Isabella Pinheiro Monteiro de Carvalho. Tatiana Peterbarg. Ilya Popov. Corey Ava Porter. Pranav Pradeep. Suhani Prakash. Paco Prio. Andrew Q. Claire Q. Zan Qureshi. Hamza Rabbani. Shivam Raja. Shruti Ramkumar. Taylor Randa. Ella Ray. Duria Rehan. Joaquin Rivello. Anna Sofio. Daniel Gershom Tendo Robinson. Liana Rodriguez. Benjamin Rosenthal. Aryan Roy. Arnav Guha Roy. Maxim Rubin. William Rubin. Marcos Ruiz. Matt Rude. Gina Rue.
Shiv Sahai. Francesco Salamone. Navya Sampath Kumar. Malia Sangvi. Claire Santoso. Denise Sari. Rehem Sasi. Courtney Savage. Penelope Scandalari. Ryan Shager. Andrew David Schmidt. Poem Shui. Jacob Schwartz. Margaret Isabel Schwerking. Zion Scott. Caroline Jana Ashley Sende. Shailish Kumar Senthith Kumar. Angela Su. Arsha Shah. Alyssa Manish Shah. Haryax Shah. Karina Shankta. Emily Charlotte Shaw. Catherine Shaw. Christopher Shen. Matthew Thomas Shen. Madeline Guggenheim Schenken. Hope Sheridan. Nikhil Sheth. Benjamin Shi. Justin Schneider. Aiden Shore. Sam Siegel. Sophia Silva. Shreya Singhi. Beta Deep Sitlani. Alexi Skida. Stephanie Skinner. Haley Sun. Alex Song. Tomer Spivak. Shreya Sripada. Abe Srivastava. Hugo Stahlhammer. Cameron Stewart. Hannah Suh. Joseph Sullivan. Rebecca Sun. Julia Evelyn Susser. Soren Sutaria. Grace Zuchun Tai. Etta Taco. Sahej Taneja. Isaac Tang. Shreya Teerdala. Martin Thaw. Therese Sharon Chepingo. Michael Estefanos Tesfaye. Rebecca Sun. Ria Thakel. Stephen Thomas. Cameron Thrower. George Tian. Kennedy Alexandria Nasareth Tijani. Sankith Sid Tipper. Vincent Anthony Golchua Tiu. Raul Trevino. Nicolas Trigo. Andrew Trzynski. Tyler Way Turek. Olivia Turman. Matthew Stephen T. Destiny Uveles. Muhammad Vakil. Kian Vakili. Roberto Valenzuela Villarreal. Andre Van de Ven. Tehaj Van Kiredi. Aniko Rao Venkanagari. Arthi Kamala Venkatakrishnan. Eshu Venkataswamy. Natalie Simone Vihodet. Christoph Villain. Lucas von Koch. Marissa Vosberg. Jack Wagoner. Nathan Waldbaum. Sissy Wang. Isabella Huang. Jasmine Huang. Kai Wang. Stephanie Huang. Sunny Huang. Tiana Wang. Brendan Warschauer. James Ward. Kenny Watts. Eugene Waweru Mbogo. Julian Wang. Didrik Vieg Anderson. Tucker Wilson. Anthony Christopher Wright II. Grace Xia. Alvin Shu. Angela Shu. Jonathan Shu. Nathan Shu. Willa Chun. Michael Ryan Yang. Alan Yao. Allison Shinyin Yao. Madeline Ye. Dion Young. Khan Yilmaz. Tommy Yu. Viola Yu. Katie Yuan. Elena Yu. Ilan Zeda. Elizabeth Zemlansky. Catherine Zhang. Alan Zhang. Amy Zhang. Ashley Zhang. Catherine Zhang. Kathy Zhang. Cynthia Y. Zhang. Ellen Zhang. Wanying Emily Zhang. Zihan Jane Zhang. Jane Zhang. Jessica Zhang. Linda Zhang. Sophia Zhang. Tony Zhang. Carlton Ling Zhao. Claire Zhao. Jason Zhao, Angelina Zhang, Cindy Zhang, Mickey Zhang, Margaret Zhu, Qinyao Cindy Zhu, Victoria Zhu, Kelly Zybura, and now, last but certainly not least, we present the final candidates for the Bachelor of Science in Economics. Sarai Elizabeth Adams. Victor Kogo. And at last, Shreya Krishnan.
And now, to formally welcome you into the Wharton alumni family, it is my pleasure to introduce a leader whose career and commitment truly reflect the strength and spirit of this extraordinary network. Eric Lin is a Wharton graduate alumnus from the class of 1992. Eric serves as chair of Wharton's Undergraduate Executive Board and a member of Penn's Undergraduate Financial Aid Leadership Council. He is a committed mentor and supporter of access to the incredible opportunities that a Wharton degree brings. I've been fortunate to witness this firsthand through my work with Eric on the board. We are grateful for your leadership and impact and delighted for you to welcome him to the Alumni Network.
To the Wharton Undergraduate Class of 2026, congratulations. It is a real honor to welcome you today into this remarkable alumni community. Today you join a global alumni network that is more than 100,000 strong, stretching across industries, generations, and more than 150 countries worldwide. The Wharton alumni community will champion you, challenge you, and welcome you with open arms. It thrives because graduates stay involved, give back, and support one another. This moment marks an incredible achievement and life milestone for you, and your loved ones as well, who have supported you along the way. Now to officially signal that you have become part of this amazing alumni community, please move your tassel from the right side of your cap to your left. Well done. Congratulations again. I'm now delighted to share with you an important Wharton tradition. Each year, a leader within the Wharton community serves as alumni marshal and passes our alumni flag to a member of the graduating class. We're thrilled that this year's marshal is David Blitzer, a member of the class of 1991. David is the managing owner of Bolt Ventures. He has led incredible achievements in sports, entertainment, private equity, and more over the course of his career. He has strengthened Penn through service on the Wharton Board of Advisors and as a Penn trustee. David is a Penn parent, and his wife Allison is a college alumna. He and his family are dedicated to supporting undergraduate students, faculty, and programs across the university, from Wharton to GSE to Penn Med. As David passes the alumni flag to classmates Sarai Adams and Victor Kogo, please join me in celebrating this symbolic moment of connection between your class and the Wharton alumni community.
Thank you, Eric, David, Sarai, and Victor. And thank you to all of our 100,000 alumni around the globe who make Wharton's community the largest, the most impactful, and most engaging business school alumni community in the world. You are now not only a part of the Wharton alumni community, but you are also a part of the Penn alumni community, where you will continue to grow and nurture the personal, intellectual, and professional relationships you've made during your time here at Penn. And I look forward to seeing all that the University of Pennsylvania commencement ceremony tomorrow, don't be late. As we close out today's ceremony, it remains my hope that each and every one of you graduates understand how much this community is proud of you and excited for you. May your Wharton experience serve you well in your future endeavors, and may you always trust in the power of Wharton and yourselves. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, parents, friends, family, get out the cameras. Graduates, grab your hats. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations!